Hello and welcome back to the Name It Gideon YouTube channel. I'm Minty, also known as Name It Gideon, and today we're going to be carrying on with my series of the top 5 cards for a certain colour. This time we're covering the top 5 blue cards that I have been running a little bit more this year, and we're going to revisit this every year, so stay tuned. Unlike previous videos, I'm not going to have a theme for this video. I couldn't really come up with a reasonable theme, so I just sort of jammed together 5 cards that I really like and have been using a lot recently. So let's jump into the list. My first card is Swindle, which is a 5 mana blue instant, and it says counter target spell, and then you create X treasure tokens, where X is the countered spell's converted mana cost. Wow, that's hard to say. So why do I like this spell? I really like this spell because I think it fits really well into a casual format where countering spells can feel pretty bad for your opponents, but if they've cast their big spell into your 5 open blue mana, then, you know, come on. I obviously had a counterspell. So they've sort of brought it upon themselves. And you can also save it up for a really big spell, counter a really big spell, and then give yourself loads of advantage by making loads and loads of treasure tokens. And I really like that style of spell, where it's not just hindering your opponents, it's also progressing your board state. So I really like removal spells and interaction that also progress your board state, and Swindle is just a good version of that. It's basically a worse mana drain, and mana drain is ridiculously powerful, so maybe if you haven't heard of Swindle or you haven't been using it recently, give it another whirl. I think it's actually a really reasonable spell, and I've been using it in basically every blue deck since it came out, and it's really hilarious when you get someone with it, so give it another look. The next card on my list is Bidenthasa, and this is one of my pet cards that I've been running for a very long time. It is a 4 mana blue enchantment artifact. It's also legendary, if that matters, and whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, Bidenthasa allows you to draw a card. If you fit this into a token swarm deck or a deck with lots of evasive creatures, it's really excellent for getting that card draw that you need. If you compare this to something like a Phyrexian Arena, imagine a Phyrexian Arena, okay, it's 1 less mana, but it draws you 1 card a turn. Bidenthasa will often draw you 3 or 4 cards every turn because you have 3 or 4 evasive creatures that can just get in for damage, and once they do, you get to draw cards. So you can draw like your whole deck with Bidenthasa. How are you going to make those evasive creatures? Well, I'll tell you with my next card. Thopter Spy Network is a 4 mana blue enchantment that says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, you get to make a Thopter, which is a flying little helicopter thing. It also says whenever 1 or more artifact creatures deal combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card. So that means not only does this make evasive creatures for Bidenthasa, it also draws you more cards. And drawing cards is the best thing you can do in Commander. The idea or the key or the trick with Thopter Spy Network is to hit different players. So if you've got 3 Thopters, hit 3 different players, then you can draw 3 cards. Because unlike Bidenthasa, Thopter Spy Network triggers when you hit a player. So it cares about the number of players you hit, whereas Bidenthasa cares about the number of creatures you hit with. So these two are a great pairing together, and I've been running them a lot recently, and Thopter Spy Network is like a pet card of mine. So if you've got an artifact-based deck, or a deck that likes getting in for damage in blue, Thopter Spy Network, put it in your deck. It's time to be hip and cool once more, because we're talking about a Commander Legends card next. Card 4 on my list is my favourite blue card from Commander Legends? Question mark? It's Sphinx of the Second Sun. This card is literally insane, and I haven't heard much about it, so I'm going to talk about it now. So after combat on your turn, you get an additional beginning phase, and that basically means you get an additional upkeep, you get an additional untap, and you get an additional draw. So that means you double up upkeep triggers during your turn, you draw another card, and you also untap every single permanent you control after combat. This is like a Sword of Feast and Famine crossed with a Seaborn Muse, only for your turn, and doubles up upkeep triggers. So it's a Paradox Haze as well. This card's literally insane because you can tap out all your mana and swing all of your creatures during combat, and then after combat you untap everything. So it also gives your creatures like pseudo vigilance. You can swing for 6 with this Sphinx in the air, smack someone for 6, and then untap it and have it as a blocker as well, which is insane. And also you get to double every bit of mana you can produce, so not just lands but mana rocks as well. This card is literally bonkers and will take over the game if it's on the field for too long. The other thing about this creature is it's non-legendary, so you can make clone copies of it and then double the triggers. So you can have a clone copy of it and itself, and you'll get 2 additional beginning phases. So that includes untaps and draws and upkeep triggers. Also, it combos really easily with cards like Lithoform Engine and Strionic Resonator, because you can copy the trigger on the stack, let the copy resolve, which untaps the Resonator and all of your mana, and then you can tap and copy the trigger again, and then that means you draw your whole deck and you can cast all of the instants in your deck. And also have infinite upkeep triggers and so on and so forth. Well, not infinite, because you will kill yourself by drawing your deck, but that's the way everyone wants to go. So there you go, crazycombos.com. Love this Sphinx. My next card is Phyrexian Metamorph. No, it's not. It's just like Phyrexian Metamorph, but the same price probably now, because Phyrexian Metamorph got a recent reprint. But if you want another copy of Phyrexian Metamorph in your deck, and you want it to be slightly different, you could run Mirror Maid, which is the next card on my list. Why aren't people running Mirror Maid? It's great. It's fantastic. It copies an artifact or an enchantment. You know how many broken enchantments there are in Commander? Lots. So for 3 mana, you can have a copy of them too. So if you want a Zendikar Resurgent in your blue deck, you can have one with a Mirror Maid. If you want to copy a Strionic Resonator and go infinite with Sphinx of the Second Sun, you can, because you've got a Mirror Maid. Mirror Maid. If you want to copy a Thopter Spy Network and go infinite with Sphinx of the Second Sun, a Strionic Resonator, a Thopter Spy Network, and another Thopter Spy Network, and make infinite Thopters, you can, because you've got a Mirror Maid. Probably shouldn't have clicked then, that's going to sound weird. Get a copy now, it's amazing. It is actually really good, because it's 3 mana, so it's cheaper than most very impactful things that it's trying to copy. So you're getting 1 up on your opponent because they had to spend resources casting their very expensive thing, and you had to spend less resources casting the same thing. So, Mirror Maid. Genuinely get a copy now. I tried to keep this video a little bit more jovial this time and maybe a little bit higher energy, so I hope you enjoyed that aspect of it. I'm trying to be way more relaxed in these videos and just like speak how I would usually speak. I think it would be easier if I had like a face cam, but I don't think I'm going to do that for a while. So if you're enjoying these videos, give them a like, leave them a comment, try and push them up in that YouTube algorithm so that other people can benefit from them too. If you like my videos just generally, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.